3, 1, 2.
Nailed it. Good job. That's a good start.
Let's do it.
Ready. I scrolled down too far. There you go. Welcome back to Absolutely the Best Podcast, a work in progress. I'm Zach, and with me is the Ed to my Shaun, or maybe the Liz to my Shaun. I was trying to figure this one out.
Liz.
Maybe
Liz.
You're the Diane to my David.
I mean, wait, but that's unrequited love.
That's true. But anyways, it's my good friend George.
Hey. And
this is the premiere episode of our second series. If you missed the announcement, don't worry about our MCU ranking. We aren't done with series 1 yet. Today we're talking about Shaun of the Dead from September 24th, 2004. Happy anniversary to Shaun of the Dead.
And it's still so great.
It holds up. We won't have a ranking system for series 2, but after we discuss the movie, we will give our ratings for the movie and whether or not it's absolutely one of the best movies. So you can look forward to that at the end. So, George, do you remember what the MCU connection is here? Just to refresh the listener, for the series 2, this is MCU adjacent, so we want to have some kind of single step tie into the MCU. Do you recall what that is for this movie?
You know, I'm blanking on it all of a sudden. I remember we talked about it just before we agreed to do this too.
Yep. Edgar Wright.
Wait, the director, right?
Yep. Director and writer of this was originally supposed to direct Ant-Man. That alone probably wouldn't really necessarily qualify as MCU adjacent, but he is also credited as a screenwriter on Ant-Man as well. And it's my understanding that most of what he wrote is still in that script. So we're counting that.
The first one?
The first Ant-Man, yeah. The good one.
Not the one that we're bracing ourselves to record.
Correct. And Edgar Wright is also an executive producer on Ant-Man. So that's enough, I think, tie in there. But if we're looking for even more connections to make, Peter Serafinowicz, who plays Pete in this movie, is Denarian Sal in Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's right.
Yep.
I keep forgetting that part. That's the part I remember.
We have Martin Freeman, who plays Declan in this. He's in it for about 10 seconds, but he's in it and he's credited. He's Everett K. Ross in multiple MCU movies. And then lastly, Joe Cornish, who is an uncredited zombie in this. He co-wrote Ant-Man with Edgar Wright. So there we go on that. Do you want to start off with your movie memories, when you originally saw it and maybe when you saw it more recently, or I can go first. I don't really care.
I mean, I can go first because mine's is probably a lot shorter than yours.
I tend to be verbose. Because
this was 2004?
Correct.
So I don't really remember too much about what I was doing in 2004, except I think, no, I was still up here. I was still up here in the Bay Area. I hadn't moved on to LA yet, I don't think. But I do remember just being excited to watch it because it looked fun.
It did.
And all of the trailers looked really fun. And it was kind of in a genre full of very serious zombie movies that are trying to always do some sort of like deep commentary on society. It was nice to have something super lighthearted. And yeah, I just really loved it. And every time I hear Shaun of the Dead in my head, I hear Shaun. Mom's name, his mom's voice.
Yes.
That's why I always every time I see somebody named Shaun, I have to hold myself back from saying that. But it was a great movie.
I first saw this in the theater in September 2004. It was during a time when I was kind of transitioning out of the bar scene and into more of a fitness lifestyle. So the monotony of them going to the pub all the time kind of resonated with me because that was getting old to me. I also happened to be the same age as Shaun in the movie. I think 29. Is that correct? Yeah, 29. At the time. I wish I was 29 now. And I had recently changed jobs from one that I wouldn't necessarily describe as dead end, but I did kind of hate it. And so, when he's at work and it just seems like this boring, menial job, where he's just trying to get through the day, I was relating to that pretty hard too. Or had just switched from a job where it was kind of like that. So, more recently, you and I went on a mandate and saw it again in the theater.
We did.
And that was fun. I just remember smiling like almost all the way through that whole movie. Like the second it came on, it just put a big smile on my face. I enjoyed it. It totally holds up. I remember there was a ton of previews. I was just kind of waiting for them to start it. And then they had a short intro by Edgar Wright. And do you remember, like right before the movie starts, at the end of his intro, he said to watch closely. He is one of the zombies.
Did you find it?
I did. I did find it. Right? Oh, I had. Nice. I only very recently found it, and we will get to that when we get to it. But since watching it in the theater with you recently, I busted out my 4K Blu-ray, and sorry, it's not a 4K Blu-ray because I can't play a 4K Blu-ray on this computer. I got out my Blu-ray and rewatched it to put some notes down. And then I watched it with the commentary by Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg. And then there's more commentaries. Do you know how many commentaries are on this Blu-ray?
A lot, it sounds like.
There's 4 commentaries.
4? Oh, wow.
So there's Edgar
So you
Wright.
watched all 4?
I did. Edgar Wright, Simon Pegg. Then there's one with the cast commentary. So it's the actors who played Shaun, which is again Simon Pegg. Kate, Ed, Diane, and David. And then there's a commentary with the actors who played Barbara and Philip, which is Shaun's mom and stepdad. And then there's a zombies commentary, which I thought was just going to be like some people making zombie noises the whole time. And it starts off that way, but they only do it for like a minute or two maybe. And then it's some of the more prominent zombies in the movie doing the commentary, like just the actors doing the commentary. One of them is John, the bartender. Yeah. And his wife is one of them too. The lady who plays his wife anyway. So I watched and listened to all 4 of those commentaries, and I am still not tired of this movie yet. It is so good. Every time I had to start it over again to watch the next commentary, I was like, oh boy, this is going to be tough. And every one of them was compelling, and I just love this movie.
That's great. Might have to borrow that from you just to hear the cast commentary.
Yeah. Or
that seems like it'd be fun.
Christmas is coming up. Maybe Santa will bring it to you. So let's get to the credits. It was written by Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright. They are probably, to me anyway, they're best known for being the writers of this film, but they've also achieved many other things. Simon Pegg may be better known for now being, he may now be better known for being, sorry, what?
Everything.
Yeah, he's in quite a bit, yeah. He's Scotty in the new Star Trek movies and Benji Dunn in most of the Mission Impossible movies. Edgar Wright is also well known for directing the Scott Pilgrim movie. The movie Shaun of the Dead is directed by Edgar Wright. We've talked about it before in the Ant-Man episode, but other than Scott Pilgrim, I personally don't much care for his movies. I don't know how you feel about him. Like Hot Fuzz is okay. What's the Baby Driver? Everybody loves Baby Driver. I don't care for it that much.
liked Baby. I did like Baby Driver, actually.
It didn't do it for me.
Yeah.
But anyways.
But Scott Pilgrim is pretty great.
Yeah. I more recently watched One Night in Soho, which I think is the last thing he did. And it's okay. It was recommended to me by Mike. I'm sorry if you're listening. It was recommended to me by Mike Alberton from the Games My Mom Found podcast. And because he had similar tastes in Edgar Wright movies as I do, like not liking a lot of them. And he said that he really enjoyed this one. And you kind of have to watch to the end to and then everything kind of comes together basically. And it does, but I still didn't care for it. So anyways, moving on. The main cast, we have Simon Pegg as the titular Shaun character. No last name, None of the characters have last names. I love it. Don't need them. Kate Ashfield as Liz. This is Shaun's girlfriend, at least at the start of the movie. Nick Frost as Ed. Ed is Shaun's best friend and maybe the best part of the movie. I don't know what you think about that.
I'm just chuckling now thinking about the scene where he picked up his phone in front of the pub with all the zombies around.
Yes. He's not...
Great character.
Yes. Not always making the best decisions, though. Lucy Davis as Diane, which is Liz's best friend. Dylan Moran as David, Lucy's boyfriend, and he's a colossally arrogant nerd. Penelope Wilton as Barbara, which is Shaun's mom. I'm trying to say mum because they always say mum instead of mom because mom is how they say ma'am. I don't know if you've ever noticed that. That's confusing. Bill Nighy as Philip, which is Shaun's stepdad. I think it's pretty incredible that they got him for this movie.
Yeah, I love Bill Nighy and everything that he's in.
He's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
Peter Serafinowicz as Pete, which is Shaun's housemate. Jessica Stevenson as Yvonne, which is a friend or former girlfriend or former colleague. It's not really clear to me. That's the girl that he runs into in the street and then again later, right? Rafe Spall as Noel, who's this arrogant 17-year-old at Shaun's work, and he's pretty entertaining. I kind of like that guy. I love to hate him. So let's get on to the main discussion. I had a hard time trying to figure out how to cover this movie because I just want to talk about every second of it, especially the first half. So I'm going to try to be brief, but no promises.
I mean, it's kind of like an Infinity War for like a zombie movies, like so many great scenes.
But even with Infinity War, I feel like I could do a couple of summary statements and then we could talk about it. And here I'm just like, I don't even know where to begin. So we're going to give it a go. The first night, the movie opens on Shaun sitting in the Winchester, which is a pub that he frequents in the Crouch End area of London. There's so much to this opening scene. We're introduced to our main characters, Shaun, Liz, Ed, David, and Diane, basically in that order. And the way that they do this is done by changing the camera angle or maybe widening the shot to include the other characters as they're introduced. I love that. I love the way that that's done. You get a really good read on what each of the characters is like too, whenever they introduce someone.
Yeah. I love how the whole thing was a vehicle for the two of them talking about their relationship. And then it opens up and pans to each of the other characters as needed. Because they just happen to be there on what's supposed to be like a date.
Yeah, that's great. They're all out. And also what I really liked was the way that with just very natural sounding conversation, we establish things that are important to the movie, such as it was Shaun and Liz's anniversary last week, and they went to the pub. Liz still hasn't met his mom yet, and that she's roommates with David and Diane. So we're like, none of this is exposition, but it is. Like, they're just kind of sitting around talking, and you're getting all this important information, but it just seems like they're having a conversation. It's done really well. There's a lot of just funny shit in general, too, mostly from Ed.
Ed doesn't have too many friends. Can I get any of you kids a drink?
Yes.
And there's the part where Liz mentions that she still hasn't met Shaun's mom.
Oh, listen to me. You're making me sound like your mum. Not that I know what she sounds like.
You still haven't met his mum? Not yet.
Don't you get along with your mum, Shaun?
No, it's not that I don't get on with her.
Are you shamed by your mum, Shaun?
No, I love my mum. Yeah, I love his mum. Ed.
She's like butter.
Ed.
Yes. Man. See, now you're making me want to rewatch it again.
Yeah. See, this is why I'm saying I was not tired after watching it.
Yeah.
I don't know, five more times.
Yeah. I wish I had the chance to take notes when we were watching it.
So we also get a lot of setups for callbacks later. Actually, in the commentary, they refer to them as reprises, which I think is probably a better word for it. But Ed gets frustrated playing a redemption game and says, "Cock it," which I guess is kind of a different way of saying "cock it." Oh, the part where Liz is talking to Shaun, she says that it's only going to exacerbate things.
Just be nice if we could spend a bit more time together.
Bollocks.
Just the two of us.
Cock it.
It's just with Ed here. It's no wonder I always bring my flatmates out, and then that only exacerbates things.
What do you mean?
Well, you guys hardly get on, do you?
No, what does exacerbate mean?
That comes back a few times. He says they're going to go out for a real anniversary dinner.
All right, I'll book a restaurant. You know, the place that does all the fish. Just the two of us.
I didn't realize till this watching that is actually set up for a reprise later on. But so remember that, the place that does all the fish. Then we have the opening credits, and you see pretty much everybody you see in this movie at some point becomes a zombie.
Right.
You see Mary, the cashier, who ends up in their backyard later. At the bus stop, there's the black kid who shows up as a zombie later in the bar, I think.
Yeah.
And there's a tall white dude who I'm pretty sure is the one who bites Shaun's mom in the backyard. Like in that scene.
The one that bit his mom was the neighbor, I thought.
Well, they're just in some neighborhood.
Yeah.
Right? And they're going through backyards,
Yeah.
and she's like, I think this is so-and-so's house or whatever. And like, there's the guy in the pajamas, the pajama zombie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's got a robe on too, I think. I think that's the same guy as the bus stop. At the bus stop, I'm not positive though. Pretty sure, like there's I don't know how to describe it. They're like a flash mob, kind of like the group of people. They're already doing like a zombie dance going down the street. Do you know what I'm talking about? The one guy's got a whistle in his mouth.
Oh, like in the beginning when they first leave the house, and there's a bunch of them.
This is still opening credits.
Oh, the opening credits. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, no, I totally didn't see that.
I mean, they're kind of going along with the opening credits music. Anyways,
when they're bopping.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that they all come back later as zombies. And of course, the kid kicking the soccer ball.
Yeah.
He comes back as a zombie. Also in the opening credits, a lot of the people, and not just the opening credits, but just in the first part of this movie, a lot of the people being shown already seem zombie-like, which is, I think, a purposeful metaphor. You know, everybody's kind of dead inside,
right?
Just going about their day, doing the same monotonous task over and over again.
Right.
Something I picked up from the director commentary is that the opening music is actually from, not the opening credits music, but the very, very opening part before they even show Shaun sitting in the bar. And it's kind of like this creepy droning music. That's from the original Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah.
From that soundtrack, which I didn't realize.
Yeah, there's a lot of callbacks to the Romero zombie
that's
movies.
Great. They also said, this is Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright. They said that the opening scene at the bar, they said it took ages to write, and it was like tons of rewrites. It was much longer originally, and I think that the work that they put into it really shows, because it's just a fantastic opening scene where you kind of get in and get out, but it's packed with the whole first half of this movie is just packed with information for you, and it's well polished, and I really like it. I appreciate that they put in that amount of effort. They also name pretty much everybody in the opening credits as they're watching it, doing the commentary. So like everybody in this movie is somebody that they know personally.
Oh,
and you know, it's kind of like, you know, just friends. They've stocked the cast with friends.
So like the cashier at the shop and the guy that with the suit, the getting married suit.
Yep.
Oh wow.
Yep, pretty much. Yeah, that guy is actually a stuntman. He's a one-armed stuntman. I didn't realize he actually only had one arm.
Oh.
One arm. Yeah. So he had like a fake arm at the beginning when you see him behind Shaun at the
Quickie Mart
convenience store. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, there was a lot of useful information. In terms of the commentaries, the first one I watched with Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright was the most useful. And then the one with the cast, a lot of the cast anyway, was also pretty useful. But a lot of the information was also repeated from the previous commentary.
Yeah.
Which is okay because then it sinks in for me. So, did you have anything else on the opening part there?
No, just that I think it was so jam-packed. Like, to your point, I think watching it several times, you have an appreciation for like everything, like I guess the amount of detail to just pay attention to that just happens throughout the movie, because it always gets revisited somehow.
Yes.
There's so many things that get revisited.
So many things.
Like even that walk to the initial walk to the shop across the street for his soda and stuff. Like that whole thing being called back later. So many details there. It's kind of insane, and it's great.
So the next day, Shaun has work. We see him go through a typical day until he remembers that he was supposed to make a dinner reservation for him and Liz to go out. And then ultimately she ends up dumping him. We get a lot more things established with what's pretty natural dialogue.
You do know the front door was open again last night. I'm not saying it was you.
I know, man.
I'm saying it was Ed.
Right.
I can't live like this. Yeah, just look at the state of it. We're not students anymore.
Pete,
I mean, it's not like he even brings any real money into the house.
well, he brings a bit.
What, dealing drugs?
Oh, he sells a bit of weed every now and again, you know? You've sold puff.
Yeah, once, at college, to you.
Well, look, I've known him since primary school. You know, I like having him around. He's a laugh.
What, because he can impersonate an orangutan? Fuck a doodle do.
Oh, leave him alone.
All right, I admit, he can be pretty funny on occasion. Like that time we stayed up all night drinking apple schnapps and playing Tekken 2.
When was that?
That was 5 years ago. When's he going home?
We have more callback setups. Shaun is getting ready in the bathroom mirror, and he closes the cabinet mirror the rest of the way. And then his roommate, Pete, played by Peter Serafinowicz, is standing there.
Yeah.
That comes back later.
Yeah.
Pete yelling that the front door was open. Well, actually, in this case, he just says it. But it says the front door was open again last night. Seems to be a problem in that house. Shaun telling Pete to leave Ed alone. Oh, leave him alone. Ed saying 2 seconds. Ed calling Pete a prick. And Ed also, one of my favorite parts when Shaun's kind of lecturing Ed about being a better roommate, essentially.
I ain't doing nothing for him. Well, do it for me, then. Oh, I'm sorry, Shaun.
It's all right.
No. I'm sorry, Shaun. Oh! Oh, my God, that's rotten! I'll stop doing them when you stop laughing. I am not laughing, you're going. Get that? You get it!
And he's like, I'll stop doing it when you stop laughing. That whole thing comes back. And Shaun says, I'm not laughing, but he is. Right. But then, like, this is the part that you were talking about when he goes to the store, goes across the street, the kid with the soccer ball hits him.
Yep.
With the ball, and he says, "You're dead" to the kid. Trips on the curb. He gives money to the unhoused guy who asks for spare change. Doesn't look at the fridge when he opens it. That's important for later at the store. He doesn't. He's distracted by I forget. I don't know. Distracted by the candy aisle that's next to it or something like that. And we talked about the groomsman behind him in line who shows up later.
Yep.
Did you notice right next to the convenience store the name of that place? It's a pizza shop called Bub's Pizza.
Mm-mm.
Which is, have you seen Day of the Dead?
Oh, Bub as in like Bub the zombie. Yeah,
yes.
the self-aware zombie.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the one. Love that movie.
It's a pretty good one. Also happens to the remake happens to be the only Zack Snyder movie I like.
Dawn of the Dead.
Oh, Dawn
remake is a good one. Day of the Dead remake sucks.
Yeah, like,
it's really bad.
Totally different movies. Yeah.
But the original Dawn of the Dead is one of my favorite zombie movies. It's a good one.
Yes.
But yes, I agree with you. The Dawn of the Dead remake is good and one of the only good Zack Snyder movies because he didn't write it. I feel like I need a British slang dictionary. I spent a lot of time decoding some things here. Some of them I had picked up on before, but other ones I didn't even know what they were saying. It also, by the way, our second biggest market in terms of downloads anyway is the UK.
Is it?
So I apologize to the blokes and lasses for anything we bugger up. Feel free to email us about our cock-ups, but don't be a about it.
Oh, I am curious though. Is it customary? Like, do people just leave their front doors unlocked over there? Like, is that a thing?
I wouldn't think so, but I don't know. I know like where I grew up.
Yeah.
My parents never locked. We didn't use the front door. We always used the back door, but they never locked that. For a long time. Now they do. Not because I think just because they're like, it is kind of dumb to leave it unlocked, but they were always like, nobody's going to come down here and, come into our house. It seemed pretty unlikely, but it was like on a dead end street across from an apple orchard, with acres of woods behind it. So it was pretty unlikely somebody was going to come over and walk into our house. So, the British slang, there's a ton of things that they say that I never understood before, either what they were saying or what it meant. So here's one that I finally saw with the captions, and I looked it up.
2 seconds. You alright, Noodle?
Hello, mate. Got anything?
No, man.
But Ebel says she was holding.
I ain't got nothing.
What? You ain't got nothing at all?
I've only got an emery myself. Alright, later.
Ed says his buddy calls him up looking for weed, right? And he says, I've only got an Henry myself. I've only got a Henry myself, right? So that's Henry the 8th. He's only got an eighth of weed. And that is like one step too clever for me. Then on the bus going to work, everyone's kind of blank-faced mouth breather, basically zombies already. Kind of discussed that a bit already. The kid sitting in front of Shaun on the bus, listening to his headphones, you can hear Kerncraft 400 by Zombie Nation. Something like that. It's Kerncraft by Zombie Nation. Some mix of that. And then Shaun sees the guy collapse on the sidewalk. At work, there's a ton of people out sick, so he's in charge. And that kid, Noel, he kind of cracks me up. He ends up as a zombie later. He's got some more slang to decode. He gets the phone call when Shaun's trying to talk to the team, right?
I know that,
Hello? Hello, mate.
No.
I was totally munted last night. Yeah, I spoke to him. He's only got Henry.
He says, I had no idea what he was even saying. His accent is so thick, but he says, I was totally munted last night. And I guess munted means destroyed or ruined. Obviously, he means he was very drunk here.
Right.
All right, I don't usually do this because it's a big hassle, but I was cutting audio clips together for editing purposes and just realized that when Noel is on the phone and he says, I'd never heard him say, yeah, I spoke to him, he's only got an Henry.
Yeah, I spoke to him. He's only got Henry.
He's only got a Henry. So he was calling Ed earlier in the previous scene. Never caught that before until just now. I like it here when Shaun is trying to pep talk the team.
As Mr. Sloman always says, there's no I in team, but there is an I in pie. There's an I in meat pie. So the anagram of meat is team. I don't know what he's talking about. Look,
That's a good one. There's 2 instances in which somebody tells Shaun that he's got red on him because some of his red pen leaked through onto his shirt.
Yeah.
Which seemed weird to me. But I guess from what I could gather, I could be wrong on this. And please email me if I am wrong. But I guess that's kind of a thing. You would say, like, you have red on you to not assume that it's ink or blood or something, because that would be rude to make that assumption in British parlance, apparently. So I guess that's a thing, and it works here.
You just call it, you have red on you, instead of assuming it's one or the other.
Instead of assuming, right. Or like if it's, I don't know, if you had a blueberry squished on your shirt, somebody might be like, you have blue on you, instead of being like, you have a blueberry stain. So I guess it would be rude to assume what it was. I don't know. I don't think about it that hard. I guess I'm rude. Shaun is selling TVs. Oh, I thought this was weird. He's selling TVs, and he says that they come with an entertainment package. And he was talking about like it sounded like different cable channels that the TV came with. I don't know if that's how cable television worked over there in the early 2000s. That seemed really weird to me.
I can't even remember. Yeah.
And he's just talking to some customers, and he was talking about the different channels that it comes with. So I thought that was strange. Then, let's see, Bill Nighy shows up as his stepdad and reminds him to come by for his usual visit with his mom. Shaun goes to buy flowers and sees that the guy who was at the bus stop in the opening credits, which might be the same one that bites his mom later on.
Mm-hmm.
He sees that guy run by the flower shop in a panic, like he's being chased. And then across the street, he sees the unhoused guy in the park grab a hold of a pigeon and just about to bite down on it, and a bus goes in front, right? And
he disappears.
You don't see him anymore. Yeah. Then Shaun buses it home. By the way, they cut out a bunch of stuff apparently, which explained why he was taking the bus and not like a train, because I guess like a metro or something like that. Which I didn't even think twice about, but I guess if you lived in London, that might be weird to you.
Oh, yeah. I just assumed that was normal. I didn't realize that.
But apparently, so apparently all the trains were shut down because people kept jumping in front of them.
Oh, geez.
I mean, they didn't show that happening, but that was like one of the train station workers was explaining that at the gate.
Oh, wow.
So he's on the bus going home, and almost everybody on the bus is like coughing or looks ill.
Right.
And then there's bad traffic because of an accident. He gets out to walk the rest of the way, and there's like a guy passed out or maybe dead in the car. I don't know. He's being seen to by paramedics. And then Shaun bumps into an old friend.
Oh my God! Shaun!
Yvonne!
Oh! How you doing?
Surviving.
So you living around here?
Which I thought was kind of a bad attempt at a jump scare. Because it's kind of like she literally bumps into him and there's like a little bit of a jump in the music, you know?
Yeah.
I don't care for jump scares. This is Yvonne, and I still don't know if that's like an ex-girlfriend or what. Did you have any read on that?
No. I mean, I think she was an ex-girlfriend. Because
it kind of seems that way, right?
I feel for some reason I feel like I remember him mentioning her as an ex-girlfriend or something. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was, but I feel like they were exes or something at one point.
I got that feeling just from their interaction, but I'm not really sure. But she says, you know, how are you? And he's like, surviving, which is a very British thing to say. Every British person I think I've ever met, if I asked them, you know, how are you? They would say surviving.
As in not doing bad, not doing good.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, I guess the way that we'd be like, yeah, I'm doing fine. Or, you know, nothing. I don't know. What would I say if somebody asked me how I was doing?
You know,
I'm like, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Back at home, Shaun goes, because he remembers now that he needs to make the reservation for dinner, even though it's probably too late at this point. I can't believe I never caught the name of the restaurant that he calls before. It's called Fulci's.
Huh.
Does that name ring a bell?
No, not at all. Why?
Okay, it's a homage to Lucio Fulci, which is, he's like this Italian director. So when, I forget if it was, I think it was when Night of the Living Dead came out.
Mm-hmm.
After that was like a big hit, he went and made a movie. So in Italy, that was just called Zombie. And so I guess he just went ahead and made a movie called Zombie 2. And in it, a zombie fights a shark underwater. And it's like, it's a real shark. Right? So I don't know how they filmed that or did it, but that's worth checking out just for that.
Just for that scene.
It's not, it's not a bad movie. It's not great, but it's not bad. It's got some pretty gross scenes in it too.
I'll have to check that out. Yeah.
But I never caught it before that it was Fulci's, because he opens up the book and he's like points with his finger, and he points like right below it. And it looks like he's pointing to a listing below it, which says Gammon Restaurant. But the Fulci's restaurant listing also says in like the little advertisement space, it says the place that does all the fish, which is what he said
in the beginning
earlier on in the pub, right? So I never caught that before either. And I don't know if that's a reference to the shark fighting the zombie in Zombie 2, like the place that does all the fish. I don't know if they were making a reference to that particular scene with that catchphrase. It could also be, I guess he did a movie called Cat in the Brain. I haven't actually seen this one, but I looked into it. And at the end, I think he plays a murderer in it, or whoever is playing the murderer in this movie. At the end, he's got a lot of body parts on fish hooks. So I don't know if that was a reference to that instead, but I haven't seen that one. Probably won't bother with that one. Ed, I like it when Ed's giving Shaun the messages from the answering machine.
Yes.
Got your messages? What? Well, your mum rang about going round tomorrow night, and then Liz rang about the two of you eating out tonight, and then your mum rang back to see if I wanted to eat her out tonight. What?
Hello, Fudges. Yeah.
That's great.
That's a good
great
one.
mom jokes.
He's got like the best side jokes.
He can never take anything too seriously, and I like that about him.
Yes.
We got some more British slang. Ed is telling Shaun to take Liz to the Winchester because he can't get a reservation at Fulci's, right?
Wasn't true about your mum.
What am I going to do? Where are we going to go?
The Winchester.
Don't be stupid. They don't do food.
There's a brother like that. Do you want to do your toasting?
Ed, this is serious.
And Shaun says they don't serve food. Ed says, there's a Breville out back. John'll do you toasties. Never understood what he was saying there before either. So we both know what a Breville is, right?
The toaster oven.
Yeah. Well, they're a manufacturer of things such as toaster ovens, which here in the States, their toaster ovens are great.
Yeah.
I guess there, when you say a Breville, they specifically are talking about one that's like a sandwich press
Oh.
that you use for making grilled cheese sandwiches. And a grilled cheese sandwich can be referred to as a toasty. So there's a Breville out back. John will do you toasties. So like that was not at all clear to me for many, many, many views. Oh, and Ed has the I Got Wood shirt on.
Yes, I saw that shirt.
Right?
I was like,
Yes,
I
it's
forgot.
great.
I meant to go look it up to see if it's around.
I don't know if I'm sure somebody's made it
Yeah.
and selling it on Etsy or something, but that is a shirt designed by Edgar Wright's brother.
Oh.
And they had some other ideas that they had considered. One was I Heart Pussy with a heart
Yeah.
and a picture of a kitten, but they were worried that they couldn't use that at all for publicity shots. Right. And they had one that said Bumpin' Donuts in the Dunkin' Donuts font, but they were worried that they might get sued over that one.
Yeah. No, the I've Got Woodwood seems like a Ed.
It's
a
great.
good Ed one.
Yeah, it's perfect. And it has I don't know why you would be listening to this if you haven't seen the movie, but if you haven't, it's just got a picture of a log on it. So then Shaun goes over to Liz's and he's trying to climb up the apartment building to her window, but he can't because she won't let him in. Shaun and Liz she does eventually let him in through the front door. Shaun and Liz have an argument that's overheard by and sometimes contributed to by David and Diane. And this is a really great scene. Again, the dialogue is pretty much perfect.
Basically, I'd say your 9 lives were up, Shaun.
Get Four Eyes. Why don't you go out there, you love her so much?
What do you mean by that?
The devastation really is extensive. It really is a total mess.
I don't know what he meant by that.
Yes. Get Four Eyes is a favorite. Is a favorite
Yes.
of mine.
Yes, I was working my way to that. It's absolutely a favorite. The way that David is looking at Shaun when Shaun's basically failing in his argument to win Liz back over, right? You can tell that he's just relishing the moment. I think that's a really nice touch by that actor.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite parts of the movie, I think. Yeah.
Yes.
And I always say, apologies to anybody whose phones I set off here, but when a certain iPhone assistant doesn't get my request correct, or just like thinks that I summoned her, I'm like, get f***ed, Siri. So Liz decides that she needs to break up with Shaun. So she dumps him. And the way they're sitting on the edge of the bed, and obviously Shaun takes it very hard. And that really reminded me of a similar situation that I was in, not because I was like a colossal fuck up the way Shaun was, but just like I had a girlfriend break up with me one time in like a junior year of college, I think. And I just remember sitting on the bed, the edge of the bed like that when she was doing the dumping. And it was not a good time, but things worked out.
Yeah.
I'm doing okay now.
Yeah.
But it reminded me of that. Since Liz dumped Shaun, he and Ed decide to drown Shaun's sorrows at where else but the Winchester. We have a lot more callback setups here. When they're walking in, there's the couple outside that look like they're making out.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they still could be at this point. I don't know, but that does not go well later on for one of them.
Yep.
When they're in the bar and the jukebox comes on, and If You Leave Me Now by Chicago comes on.
See, I knew you'd get over it. Maybe I'll put this on. It's on random.
The It's on Random comes back again later. Oh, it turns out that they wanted to use, and this is from the commentary, obviously, they wanted to use Nothing Compares to You by Sinead O'Connor for that part, but it was way too expensive. I think that I forget if they said that it was £20,000 to license that song. It must have been that song, because that sounds expensive to me. $20,000 on a low budget movie like this. So I don't know what they paid for the Chicago one, but it was not £20,000. And let's see. Oh, the Ed's How's That for a Slice of Fried Gold? That's pretty good. I like that. His username, Nick Frost, the guy who plays Ed, his username on Instagram and Threads is Fried Gold. So I think he made that up. I'm not positive. If not, he definitely owns it. So this is the biggest reason why I did not mind listening to the various commentaries, because I had never, ever, ever picked up on this before. Mm-hmm. And I cannot believe it. I will get the clip of the dialogue, but probably not bother with the clip of the commentary. But there's the part where Ed is trying to give Shaun a pep talk.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I know this scene, but I'm waiting for, yeah.
You know what we should do tomorrow? Keep drinking. We'll have a Bloody Mary first thing. Have a bite of the King's Head, couple of the Little Princess. We'll stagger back here. Back at the bar for Shaun's. How's that for a slice of fried gold?
He's laying out the rest of the movie. He's telling you how the rest of the movie goes. A Bloody Mary first thing.
Right.
We got that Mary in the backyard.
Yeah.
And they push her back. She falls down on the thing. Yeah, right. And she gets all bloodied. A bite at the King's Head. Philip gets bit.
Yeah.
Like in the neck. Yeah. The King Philip, right? A couple at the Little Princess. They pick up David and Diane at Liz's, as in Princess Elizabeth. Stagger back here and bang back at the bar for shots.
Right.
They go back to the Winchester and they are shooting zombies.
Right.
So how's that for a slice of fried gold? Indeed.
Huh. I did not know that.
That I could not believe it. I never knew that. So I like how they sneak that in. It's like, here's exactly what's going to happen. I mean, it's not in great detail, but I thought that was really cool.
That was from the Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright commentary?
Yes. Yes.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I totally did not catch that at all.
You know what I did not get from the Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg commentary was which zombie was Edgar Wright. But I did pick it up from one of the other ones. I think it was the cast commentary. We are not there yet, though. This was also where we have one of two improvised parts where Ed is describing the people at the pub where he's trying to cheer Shaun up a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I kind of wondered if any of this was improvised. And so I looked into it, and yes, indeed, this was the only part. This and one other line later on. But I was wondering, because Simon Pegg's reaction seems so genuine, like he's laughing really hard. He's a good actor, but I feel like a genuine laugh is really hard to do. And I guess they did multiple takes, and he did it different every time.
Nice.
So, yeah, that's got to be hard to do. And then, at the end of Ed's whole spiel, I really like the ironic timing, I guess you might call it, where Ed is telling Shaun,
Why do you think there's a rifle above the bar?
Because the pub's called the Winchester.
Exactly. See? You don't need Liz to have a good time.
Oh, I don't, man.
No, hey, look at me. Can I just say one more thing? I'm not going to say, there's plenty more fish in the sea. I'm not going to say if you love her, let her go. And I'm not going to bombard you with cliches. But what I will say is this. It's not the end of the world.
and then you get the zombie hand on the banging on the door.
Yeah.
It was great.
And everybody's, when they were like, we're closed.
Yes. So anyways, then they leave the bar. And another one of my favorite parts, they're singing and doing the bass line for White Lines by Grandmaster Flash and Melly Mel. And they walk past the couple that's making out that they saw when they walked in, right? And just as they turn away, the guy's head falls off.
Yep.
Then there's the part with where they're doing the bass line and the zombie down the streets making noises. Yeah.
Get higher, baby. Get higher, baby. Get higher, girl.
What's he do? Just say bass or freeze. What a tit.
I don't know why it's so funny, but every time Ed goes, what a tit.
That's definitely the thing that gets me about this movie is that where, after watching it several times, where all the funny parts are coming, but they're still funny.
Yes.
I don't know why. It's still so good to me.
Yes. I don't think I'll ever get tired of it. So they go back to the house and they play some music super loud, which pisses off Pete. This is another great scene with information-packed dialogue.
Don't scratch it! Wait! That was the second album I ever bought!
It's 4 in the fucking morning!
It's Saturday!
No, it's not. It's fucking Sunday. And I've got to go to fucking work in 4 fucking hours because every other fucker in my fucking department is fucking ill. Now, can you see why I'm so fucking angry? Yeah?
Hey, Pete, look, I'm sorry. We've had a couple of drinks. We split up with Liz tonight.
Just keep it down, yeah.
Prick.
What was that?
Nothing.
No, come on, stop it, we're friends!
He's not my friend, he's a fucking idiot!
What's that supposed to mean?
It means, why don't you fuck off? You want to live like an animal? Go live in a shed, you thick
Oh, leave him alone!
Stop defending him, Shaun! All he ever does is hold you back! Or does it make your life easier having someone around who's more of a loser than you are?
What's that supposed to mean?
You know what I mean. I assume it was Liz who did the dumping. Sort your fucking life out, mate!
What's up with your hand, man?
I got mugged on the way home from work.
By who?
I don't know, some crackheads or something. One of them bit me.
Why did they bite you?
I don't know, I didn't stop to ask them! No, I've got a splitting headache, and your stupid hip-hop isn't helping. And the front door is open again!
It's not hip-hop. It's electro, prick. Next time I see him, he's dead.
Everyone at Pete's work is sick. He says a mugger bit him.
Yep.
Ed calls him a prick. And then Pete goes, you want to live like an animal? Go live in the shed, you thick f-. And that's foreshadowing for the end of the movie where Ed is in the shed.
Right.
We get the callback of Shaun saying to leave him alone. And Pete's like, and the front door is open again. And there's a line where Pete says something about the music they're listening being like stupid hip hop. And they're like, it's not hip hop, it's electro, prick. And Ed says, next time I see him, he's dead. So we get that foreshadowing again, right?
Right.
So in the commentary, they were talking about, because Pete throws the record out the window and Shaun's like, that's the first album I ever bought. Or second album, I think it was. Anyways, in the commentary, they're saying that album is Street Sounds Electro, and it's a seminal compilation album, according to Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg.
Are those their actual albums?
Yeah, it's like a compilation of different artists. And Edgar Wright says in the commentary, he says, Electro fans will know it's a seminal compilation. And Simon Pegg goes, well, who doesn't? And I'm like, me? I have no idea. I'd never heard any of this before. But anyways, I guess it was a really big album back in the day, certainly in the UK.
I did not know any of that.
Yeah. So I feel like maybe I got to listen to it. Maybe it's good.
I mean, I knew that they appreciated their vinyl.
Well, I think the part of Shaun's backstory is that he used to DJ.
Right.
It's the next morning and a full-on zombie outbreak is happening, but it takes Shaun and Ed a little bit to clue in because they're so hungover. I really like the transition from night to day where Shaun basically collapses in the kitchen chair.
Yes.
And it just hangs on that. It just hangs on that for a few seconds and then boom, it's daylight. And then we have kind of a repeat of the previous morning because everybody does the same things. Shaun goes across the street to the same shop, trips over the same curb, right? All the same things keep happening, but everybody's a zombie now and he just doesn't notice it because he's so out of it. He doesn't see the bloody handprint on the fridge because, as always, he's distracted by the candy aisle as he's opening the door.
But he even skids on like blood and recovers, so and he still doesn't think anything of it.
I don't know how they did that. It was like, it's such a great slip. And even just like tripping over the curb all those times. I mean, I think he only does it maybe twice in the movie, but I'm sure there was multiple takes. And I saw him do it again for something more recently. It was like, maybe it was for like the 20th anniversary of this coming out, but I think it was longer ago than that. But it was like a reel on Instagram where he was walking across the same street and going to the same shop and he trips over the same curb the same way. And I don't know how he does it so naturally. Did you ever watch?
They had to have rehearsed that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But I don't know how you do it and make it look natural like that.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch Modern Family?
Uh-huh.
Okay. It's like when Phil always trips over that one step going up the stairs, like almost every time. And it won't happen in every episode, but it was happening for seasons where he would just trip on that step. It's like, I got to fix that step. Anyways, where was I?
That whole scene though is like that whole first morning scene from when he leaves the door to go to the shop to when he comes back. It's like it's hands down one of my favorites.
Yes, he's like so close to like being attacked at multiple points, but
yep, he does get attacked. Doesn't one of the zombies, like the homeless guy, like ask him, the guy that asked him for change? Doesn't he kind of attack him? But he's like, I gave all my money to the
yeah. He comes up to him. He's like, I didn't even have enough change for the shop.
He just like walks by.
Yeah. That's it. And then he leaves the front door open again.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that this is like one really long take.
Because it didn't feel like it cut away from him at all the whole time, right?
No. And maybe it's two, like maybe one where he walks into the store and then like one where he walks back, but it was that caught my attention finally. Yeah. I mean, it's so well done where I wasn't like, oh, this is a gimmick where they're doing one long take, because sometimes that, like, I was complaining about that at the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, where the opening credits are all one long take. And I was like, I would have rather just have it be better. So then we get the girl in the garden scene.
Yes.
It's the cashier, Mary, that you see in the opening credits. I love it that they think that she's just drunk because, I mean, I guess, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I would also assume that, or if I would be like, no, this is really a zombie, right?
If somebody was in my yard, I don't know that I would be assuming anything good.
Yeah, that's true.
You know?
And I love it when she attacks Shaun and Shaun's like, Ed, help. He's like, 2 seconds. And he goes in and gets a camera to take a picture. And Shaun shoves her. She gets impaled on a pole. which is a great moment of realization. And it's pretty good visual effects, especially for 2004.
Yeah.
Like if you look close, it's a little bit, you can tell it's a little bit CGI, but you know, it works.
Oh, was it CGI? I just thought that was really good camera work. When her body comes up and then they see you can see.
I think it's enhanced. I think it's enhanced with CGI, like because when she's like getting back up and you see the meat kind of rubbing on the post. I think that's enhanced by CGI. I'm not positive, but yeah, she stands up and Ed starts winding the camera again to take a picture.
that was the best.
That's great. I do have a science gripe here though.
Oh.
When she falls, she lands, and it clearly, like where the post goes through, it clearly severs her spine. There's no way, like zombie or not, she would not be able to stand up and walk. They could have had it be off to the side a little bit.
Right.
But I don't really care. I just had to put in one science gripe. It does not ruin this movie at all for me. Oh, did you catch the name of the store that she works at on her name tag? It's Landis.
As in John Landis?
That's correct. As in the director of American Werewolf in London. That whole scene is hilarious, and it's really well done. They go back inside, and I think they're trying to call, whoever, any kind of, whatever the equivalent of 911 is over there. Is it 999 something?
Yeah. Emergency services.
I wish I could rattle off the IT crowd one right now. It's like 0991 499.
I don't think I watched that.
You never watched the IT crowd? Oh man! All right, we might just have to cover that whole series.
Is it that? I mean, I've heard of it, but then like I never got around to just watch. It's one of those. It's on my list, but it's always on my list.
It's so good, especially if you don't work in IT, but you are familiar with IT.
Yes.
And I mean, I think it'll really resonate with you. I don't think it's one of those things. Again, I don't work in IT, but I know enough about IT where I think it's like they don't try to get down into like the nerdy parts about IT. They just happen to work in IT, and everything is like turn it off and back on again. Right.
Yeah.
Anyways. Oh, so Shaun's trying to get a hold of any kind of emergency service, and he's like, "Are they still out there?" And Ed like opens up the curtains, and they're right there in the window. The groomsman comes in through the unlocked door, the open door, really. And I feel like this part comes pretty close to being too long and too silly, but they save it. And I love the face that Shaun makes when the guy first walks in and they see him.
Was he on the street when Shaun was going to the shop? I can't remember.
I don't know. I didn't see him, but I mean, he had to be somewhat nearby, right?
Right. For him to follow him into the door.
So then they go out back. They're flinging the records at Mary and the guy that's back there now. And I think it's pretty funny when they're trying to decide which ones are okay to throw. And like the Batman soundtrack and Dire Straits were both okay to throw.
Yes. Was that the Michael Keaton Batman soundtrack?
Yes. It's
Prince.
It's Prince, isn't it?
It's Prince, yeah.
Not his best work. No disrespect to Prince. Shaun and Ed bash the two zombies' brains in with a cricket bat and a shovel, which goes on for a hilariously long time. And then they go back inside, and we get the call back for "You've got red on you." Ed tells Shaun that. They both have red all over them at this point.
Yes.
Oh, and then they're watching the news, and the news anchor says to isolate anyone you know who's been bitten, and they both immediately think of Pete.
They both look up, right?
Yes. And I love the way that Shaun is like gingerly going, "Pete," up the stairs to see if he's home.
Pete! Why don't we just go up?
No, don't go up there.
Why not?
Because A, he might be one of them, and B, he might still be annoyed.
Pete!
Maybe he went into work.
How come he didn't drive? Skis are still here.
Well, maybe he got a lift. He said he wasn't feeling very well.
Pete! Oi, prick!
He's not in.
Shaun gets a call from his mom, and she said that there were some people who attacked them at the house, and they were a bit bitey.
Liz!
Shaun.
Mum, hi. I was going to call you. Are you okay?
Yes.
Yeah, what, are you sure?
Some men tried to get into the house.
Well, are they still there?
I'm not sure. We've shut the curtains.
Did you try the police?
Well, I thought about it.
Well, are you okay? Did they hurt you?
No, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Mum?
Well, they were a bit bitey.
Mum, have you been bitten?
No, but Philip has.
Oh, okay.
Has she been bitten?
No, Philip has. Oh, okay. Listen, Mum, what sort of state is he in?
Oh, he's fine. Bit under the weather.
I see.
What's the deal?
We may have to kill my stepdad. Listen, Mum, sit tight, okay? You're not safe there. We're coming over.
I don't want to cause a fuss.
We're coming to get you, Barbara!
They were worried that Barbara was bit.
Right.
She's like, no, Philip got bit. They're like, oh, okay. And this is where Ed yells into the phone, "We're coming to get you, Barbara," which I don't think I picked up on.
Yeah.
That
the first Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah. It's that line, like, "They're coming to get you, Barbara."
Yep.
With that, that's like her brother teasing her, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But apparently George Romero saw this movie and also didn't get it.
He didn't?
Yeah, they had to explain it to him. He was like, "Oh, I see." So I didn't get it until I saw it on the poster for like the 20th anniversary poster.
For Night of the Living?
No, for this.
Oh, for this.
There's a 20th anniversary poster, or maybe it's a poster I hadn't seen before. And it says it on there. And I was like, oh, that's like in Night of the Living Dead. So I don't know why reading it made the connection for me, but.
Yeah. I thought that Barbara was named Barbara because of Night of the Living Dead.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. So Shaun and Ed hatch a plan to get Shaun's mom, then get Liz, then go hole up at the Winchester.
Right.
And then at the end of Shaun's planning, he does the "how's that for a slice of fried gold?" Shaun sees Pete in the bathroom, echoing the scene we saw earlier where he's closing the bathroom mirror, and this time he sees the shadow in the shower.
Pete's silhouette.
Like behind the silhouette, thank you. Behind the shower curtain. And this is something that was, well, later on I thought was a complaint for me. You can attest to this. We were talking about it after we saw it in the theater. But this is actually a really nice little detail. Pete has lividity on the right side of his body,
right.
Consistent with him dying in his sleep. Because I saw it later on when they show him later on in the movie, and I was like, well, he didn't have it in the shower. Why does he have it now?
Right.
But he did have it now. I looked more closely. And so he died in his sleep laying down, so all the blood pooled on that side. So I like that. There's a nice little touch there.
Oh, so they did have it after all.
They did, yeah. Yep. But yeah, I was complaining about that when we went and saw it. So I was wrong. Happy to be wrong on that.
I love that they had even that.
What's that?
I said I love that they paid attention to that detail even.
Yeah. So like it tells the story too, because like clearly, all right, so he died in his sleep, but he still gets up,
right?
Like and gets in the shower. So it's
muscle memory.
Yeah, I like how it's like it seems like if you leave the zombies to their own devices, they're gonna try to go about their normal routine more or less as best they can. So, and that's actually also underscored immediately in the next scene where the zombie kid hits Shaun in the head with a soccer ball. Ed says "cock it" again when he accidentally sets off the car alarm instead of unlocking it.
Yep.
And I love him, but he's so selfish and stupid. This is when they get to Shaun's mom's house and he wrecks Pete's car so that they have to take Philip's Jaguar so that he can drive it, basically. Now, did you also notice this? I've noticed it before, but I only ever noticed it in this scene. Ed is missing like a patch of hair on the back of his head. There's like a little square of it that's shaved.
Oh, no. I don't think I remember that.
Yeah, it's just like a character choice, I guess they made where they assume that it's like a drunk prank where like if your friend passes out, you shave their head or something like that, right? Or shave part of their head. I wouldn't know anything about that. Okay, so the whole scene in Barbara and Philip's house, this is where I really felt I needed the dictionary. There's so much slang here, or not even slang so much as like other terms that we don't use in the U.S. so much. Shaun walks in with a cricket bat, and Barbara's like, "Is that for the jumble?" And the jumble is apparently a rummage sale.
Oh,
And then she says his toys are upstairs and she was going to give them all to the jumble. But then Philip says he already took them all to the tip. So I'm like, okay, what's a tip?
Right.
The tip is a rubbish dump, which you call because you tip your rubbish bin to empty it out. Which is okay. I mean, it makes sense.
Right.
But I don't just call it the dump. I don't know. This one was a lot easier just to figure out from context. Philip, after they're talking about how he got bitten, he's like, I ran it under a cold tap. We had our jabs when we went to the Isle of Wight. So the jabs is an easy one. That's vaccinations. Yeah. Actually, somebody just the other day who was American referred to it as a jab the other day to me. Huh. I thought that was weird. And then when Ed wrecks the car and he says he pranged it, that's another one we can figure out from context.
Right.
This is also where I feel like Ed's selfishness is really a danger because of the having to switch cars, right?
Yes.
That's when Philip gets bit, right? So that's kind of on Ed for that one.
Right. Because he wanted to drive the Jaguar.
Yeah. I mean, you could argue that Philip was going to die anyway. I don't know. Because he did get bit already.
Yep.
And it's hard for me to stay mad at Ed because he's just so funny. He's constantly making innuendo at and about Shaun's mom.
Yes.
So I can't really hold a grudge. Then they go to get Liz, and this time Shaun does successfully climb up to the window. Shaun says, if we don't get out of here, they're going to tear us to pieces, and that's really going to exacerbate things for all of us. So we get the exacerbate reprise. In the commentary, Bill Nighy says, I'm not going to, there's a word I'm not going to say, and you know which word it is. But Bill Nighy says, this is obviously the commentary with him, that Nick Frost was worried about the what's up N-words line.
Yeah.
Like when they all come out, he's like, what's up? Right. And that Ed said to him that, he's like, but we have a backup that is what's up. Okay.
Yeah. I would have thought that they would have gone with because he said that before.
Right. And so, but this is the really weird part about in the commentary when Bill Nighy is saying these things. First of all, he says the N-word, no problem, like hard R. It's very, very unsettling. But then when he says what I think was cunts and actually was confirmed later, they bleeped that. So I thought it was wild to me that they
in the commentary.
Yes. They bleeped him saying the C word in the commentary, but not
the N word.
Yeah. Oh, it was it was really weird. And I just thought it was weird because I'm like, I thought that they just said all the time in the UK.
Right.
Like it was nothing.
That's kind of what I thought.
Yeah. Anyways,
like it's like their version of like assholes or something.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Or even like jerk, but and maybe slightly more profane. There is, so I think I have it elsewhere. Oh no, they're right there. So in the cut scenes section of the Blu-ray, there is a take where he does say, "What's up?" So that is definitely what Bill Nighy was saying there. That got bleeped out. So I think I'm done saying for now. I'm gonna have to do so much editing. So then Philip dies in the car. It's kind of touching what he says to Shaun right before he dies.
Yes.
Being a father is not easy.
What?
You were 12 when I met you, already grown up so much. I just wanted you to be strong and not give up because you lost your dad.
Philip, you don't have to explain, huh?
No, I do. I always loved you, Shaun. I always thought you had it in you to do well. And you just need motivation, somebody to look up to. And I thought it could be me. Just take care of your mom. There's a good boy.
Ed, can you pull over? 2 seconds.
He wanted to be someone that Shaun could look up to, And, he just didn't go about it the right way. Shaun asks Ed to pull over, and Ed does the 2 seconds thing again. And I think this is where Shaun starts to lose his patience with Ed.
Yes.
Now they're stuck with no vehicle. I kind of skipped over the part why they're stuck with no vehicle. Obviously, Philip turns into a zombie, and then they all get out of the car and they lock him in it. So they have no vehicle. They have to start hoofing it to the Winchester on foot through people's yards.
Yeah.
This is where they run into... Sorry, would you have something to say in that part?
Yeah, I was going to say, I love that part where he was like lecturing his mom. There's nothing left of the man you love in there. And then he
yes.
reaches over and turns off the radio.
Yes, that's great. Yeah.
That's so good.
So good touch. So they run into Yvonne and her crew, which again, it seemed like they were trying to do the jump scare again. I understand because they're repeating things, but I didn't think it was I don't like jump scares. I didn't think it worked.
Yeah.
Very minor gripe though. They get the, how's it going? Surviving thing again.
Yep.
And then everybody in her crew is a doppelganger for one of someone in Shaun's crew, right? So her boyfriend Declan is basically Shaun.
That's Martin Freeman, right?
Yep. That's one of our MCU tie-ins. I don't know her friend Mark. The actor's name is Reese Shearsmith. Oh. And he's supposed to be David, I think, basically like the doppelganger of David. Her friend Maggie is Tamsin Grieg. I don't know how you pronounce that. I've seen her in Black Books. I don't know if you ever saw that.
I don't think so. Yeah.
That he's also Black Books also had Dylan Moran in it, the guy who plays David. It's that's worth checking out. He's super sarcastic in it. He's really good. And Tamsin Grieg was good in it too. She's also in Episodes, which was Matt LeBlanc's show on like HBO or something like that.
Yeah,
for a while, or Showtime, I think. It was okay.
That was
not bad.
Post Friends, or
yeah. Post Friends and post Joey.
Poor Joey. That was very.
But he plays himself in it, and it's pretty good. I watched a couple of seasons of it. I didn't know the actress who plays her mom. It's Julia Deakin. I don't know. But her cousin, the guy who plays her cousin Tom, is Matt Lucas. You've seen Bridesmaids, right?
Nah, I have, yeah, like a long time ago though.
Okay. Do you remember Kristen Wiig's roommate, the bald guy? Kind of the chubby bald guy. Okay, well, that's him, Matt Lucas. He's also a co-host on the Great British Bake Off with with Noel Fielding. Yeah.
Okay,
so wait,
I know that guy then. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you know who Noel Fielding is?
He's supposed to be a comedian too, but I never found him that funny.
I like, he's so dry. I like it though. But he has a small part in the IT Crowd where he's like this goth guy. And so that's where I knew him from originally. Anyway, unfortunately, he is not in this movie that I know of. And then importantly, Shaun tells Yvonne that they're going to the Winchester because that's important for later.
Right.
They lose track of Barbara for a minute. Shaun goes and finds her. She was attacked by the pajama zombie and nobody knows it yet, but she was actually bitten. They see that there's no clear path to get to the Winchester, and so they have to pretend to be zombies to get through, which I like. I don't think I'd seen that before in a zombie movie.
Why do I feel like I have?
I mean, I've seen it since then, and like in The Walking Dead, they like actually put guts on themselves and stuff to kind of mask the smell, right? But maybe it was done in something else. But
I feel like it was done in something else.
Yeah,
but not this funny though. This because this one's where Diane gets to flex her acting chops, and so she's giving everybody improv lessons.
Yeah, I like it. That's good. Yeah. And then once they get to the Winchester, Ed, being a selfish idiot, takes a call outside the locked doors of the Winchester, and then Shaun really lays into him here.
2 seconds. Hey, Noodle.
You all right, mate?
Yeah, man, I can't really talk now.
Did you get anything yet?
I've got nothing.
Really?
No, I'm right in the middle of something.
Bit mental, isn't it?
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Oi! What are you doing?
What am I doing? What are you doing, you stupid moron?
Cough?
You f*** off! F***ing off!
Sure.
I spent an entire life, look at me, I've spent my entire life sticking my neck out for you, and all you ever do is f*** things up. F*** things up and make me look stupid. Well, I'm not gonna let you do it anymore, not today!
Shaun.
Oh.
And it's at this point, up to this point, the movie has been pretty much perfect. Like I said, I had a couple of gripes, but they are so forgivable.
Right.
It starts to have some faults here for me. They're pretty small faults, but they are faults nonetheless. All the zombies stop and wait for Shaun to finish yelling at Ed. Right. And I feel like that could have been done differently. They could have been further away or something. Right.
Yep.
When Shaun gets all the zombies to follow him, he's going to draw them away so everybody else can find a way into the Winchester. Right. He jumps into a swarm of them. There's no way he came out of that unscathed. Right. Again, could have been done differently.
That's when he was going to be the decoy, right? So that they could go inside.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And then on top of that, being the decoy, I mean, I don't think he could really draw all the zombies away. I guess I'm arguing zombie behavior. They don't exist. Maybe I should shut up. But my first two gripes, I think, still stand. So everybody else gets inside and waits for Shaun, who does show up after, quote unquote, giving the zombies the slip. And then we have some more callbacks here. Before Shaun comes back, David is freaking out and he's like, "What are we going to eat?"
Look, let's just keep quiet and wait for Shaun. We can barricade the window when he gets back.
What then? How long? Days, weeks, month? What? What about food? What are we going to eat?
Toasties.
There's a breville out back.
Oh, great then. Saved by nibbles.
And Diane says, "Toasties." And Ed says, "Yeah, there's a Breville out back." Which I think this is the first time I found that line funny because I finally understood what they were saying earlier on. When Shaun shows up and they're sitting around with nothing to do and he's like,
"Would anyone like a peanut?"
I guess that was the other improv line. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a totally fine line, but
it's kind of funny just the delivery.
Yes.
From what I remember.
He says peanut. Yep. Well, I mean, plus it's kind of like the reality has set in where they're like, "Oh, we really are just sitting around in a bar at the end of the world." Then we get to flipping all the breakers, trying to get the TVs on, but not the lights, right?
Yes.
And I love when he's out there fiddling with the breaker box and the light goes on outside the back door and there's all the zombies in the windows.
Yes.
And he sees them and he just like turns the breaker back off and pulls the shade down.
Yeah.
It's like a Looney Tunes reaction. And then so they get some of the power on and Ed starts playing the Ooh-Ah Dracula slot machine again. And it's making a ton of noise. This kicks off the worst part of the movie for me, though. Like I hate this part so much. I don't want to say I hate it.
Which part? Is it when David goes nuts?
No. Well, that's when it starts to come back. So Ed starts making a lot of noise with the slot machine. And then John, the owner of the bar, comes out and he's a zombie now. And then the jukebox comes on. But we do get the call back where somebody's like, "Who the hell put this on? It's on random."
Right.
But the whole scene here goes on too long and it gets way too silly where it's Liz and Shaun and Ed and David. Maybe it's just the three of them. Anyways, several of them are hitting John with the pool sticks, right? And they're doing it in time with the music. You can tell the guy has a ton of padding on. Right? Like it looks really bad and it just keeps going and going and going. And why are none of them hitting him in the head like they're supposed to?
Was this when they were playing Queen song?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
And it's like they're trying to slowly beat him to death. I don't know. I really dislike that part. It's the first time I saw the movie, I was like, oh, here's the typical part where they've run out of ideas for the movie and it's just gonna suck now because a lot of zombie movies do that. They're like really good for like half of it.
Right.
Are you still there? Okay, you looked frozen for a second.
No.
Anyways, they do eventually save it. It turns out that the rifle above the bar is real. I don't think I even talked about the rifle.
Was it really? Was it really a Winchester? I can't remember.
I have no idea. I know nothing about guns. It's some kind of a rifle.
Right.
But anyway, there's a rifle above the bar, which is supposedly what the Winchester is named after. And then, the urban legend is that it's real, but Shaun thinks that it's, at least been deactivated, basically.
Right.
But it turns out that it is real and there are bullets for it. Shaun fires one on accident, but then he can't fire it again. And Ed says to cock it. So we get that call back. Barbara comes clean about being bit and dies shortly thereafter, which is a really tragic scene. And Simon Pegg acts the out of this scene. So does Kate Ashfield, really. But yeah, I mean,
it was really sad. I got really sad during it.
It is. Yeah, it's really hard. And I think that they had to do it a couple of times. I forget if he said if it was this scene or maybe something like shortly after he got really ill because he hadn't been sleeping well and stuff.
Simon Pegg had?
Yeah. And when the actress who played Barbara said something about it too, where, she kind of does like the jerk when she dies, like a little seizure.
Right.
Right. They had told her not to do that because it was too upsetting. And she did it anyway, and I'm glad she did because it is upsetting.
It was upsetting to the actors?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I assume they would think that it was upsetting to the audience too. Because, I mean, like, nobody wants her to die, right?
Right. Because she's so sweet.
Right. So anyways, that's an intense scene. And then she dies, and David gets pretty crazy with the rifle. He's going to shoot Shaun's mom,
right.
And he's not wrong. She's going to turn into a zombie, right? But he's going about it wrong. And the whole scene escalates.
What are you doing? We have to deal with her?
Daffs, for Christ's sake.
She's going to come back? She's not going anywhere. Well, she'll change. She's my mum. She's a zombie. Don't say that! Move aside. I'm going to count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Don't point that gun at my mum!
Shaun, calm down!
Don't point that gun at Barbara!
It don't exacerbate things!
What does that mean?
This isn't exactly fair!
Here.
Thank you.
It's okay.
Please, can we just stop and think about this?
Tell him to put the gun down! Look, Lizzie, she's gonna change. You know I'm right. And when she does, she'll come back and she'll kill all of us. That's what your ex can't seem to realize. That's what this is about, isn't it? It's just he doesn't like me. He's always hated me and now he wants to shoot my mom. She's not. You never thought I deserved her, that I was good enough. What are you talking about? Oh, come on. We all know you're in love with Liz. That is not true. Yes, it is. That is not true.
Yes, it is.
What?
I know you only hung out with me at college to get close to Liz, and when she knocked you back, I was there to pick up the pieces. I've come to terms with that, Daffs. Why can't you?
Lizzie, I want you to know that my feelings for you have always been essentially...
David, please, there are slightly more pressing matters at hand here.
Yeah, like the fact that Daffs is pointing a gun at my mum. I'm not the one who's being unreasonable, Pico. For Christ's sake, she's not dead. She's finished. For a hero, you're quite a hypocrite. You're the one that's gone from being a chartered accountant to Charlton Heston. I'm not a chartered accountant. Well, you look like one. Yeah. I'm a lecturer. You're a twat. Yeah. She's not your mum anymore. In a minute, she'll be just another zombie. Don't say that! We're not using the zed-word!
Please, can we just calm the f*** down?
Shaun does end up having to shoot his own mom because when she stands back up after becoming a zombie, David's just like, you do it, and hands him the gun, right?
Yes.
And then what happens? David, he's such a twat.
He goes nuts.
He says,
he goes nuts right there, right?
Yeah, well, it's not quite yet. It's like, he goes, I think we're all agreed you did the right thing here. And so Shaun socks him in the mouth, rightfully so.
Yes.
And then David gets the gun again, and he tries to shoot Shaun, but it's out of shells. And so, it's pretty clear he fucked up. And he decides he's going to leave out the front door, but Diane talks him out of it. And so he's just kind of like edging away from the door, off to the side, in front of the windows.
Right. I'm leaving.
What?
Not staying here.
David, don't. It's suicide.
I think you should go.
We will. We can run. We can defend ourselves.
What do you mean, we?
What do you mean? What do I mean, we?
Opening that door now would be a very, very silly thing to do.
So you're going to stay here with him?
Shaun,
after everything he's gotten us into?
Finish! Shaun didn't ask you to come here. You came for the same reason that I did, because you didn't know what else to do. Now get away with that door this instant!
But...
David!
I'm so sorry, Diane.
Maybe I'm not the one you should be apologizing to.
Shaun.
and he's just about to apologize to Shaun. I think all he gets out is the Shaun, and then all the zombies come through the window.
Yes.
And just rip him to pieces, man. It is.
That's another.
I haven't seen.
Isn't that another callback to like Dawn or Day of the Dead?
Day of the Dead. That's
Day of the Dead,
like,
right?
Day of the Dead. Rhodes gets ripped apart, and that's when you got to listen to the commentary on too, because that poor guy, that actor, like all that was done with like pig guts.
Oh yeah,
and they had been sitting around for a couple of days, so they were pretty rotten. I'm not sure how they did it in this one. They didn't really talk about it, but it's impressive. It's one of my favorite scenes as well.
And then doesn't she she's holding onto his leg.
Yeah, Dan's got his leg and like beats her way out through the zombies, which is a little ridiculous. And apparently, according to it's not deleted scenes, but they did like little animatics of they called it plot holes. I didn't think they were plot holes at all. It's just like, fill in the gap and later on or something like that. I don't even remember what some of the other ones were, but one of them was with Diane. She supposedly lived. She like kind of came to her senses after getting through the crowd of zombies and like hung out in a tree until everything was over, basically.
I'm still amazed that's actually, like, I just assumed she was dead. Like,
I mean, I don't think she needs to be alive or anything.
Yeah.
but I mean, this is really the part of the movie where everybody should have been killed.
Right.
I didn't want that to happen, but the way that the zombies were surrounding them, there's no way anybody should have gotten out of there. The zombies are just like waiting sometimes for them to finish doing whatever they're doing. So, the bar's full of zombies. There's pretty much no way out. Like lots of instances where somebody should have gotten bit but wasn't. Ed eventually does get bit by Pete, of all people, which is kind of fitting.
Yes.
And Shaun says, "I said leave him alone." So we get that one more time. Right before he shoots Pete. Ed does live for a while and he helps Shaun and Liz to get out. They eventually make it down into the basement and they're going to escape through the cellar doors to the outside. We get a raunchy but somehow sad and touching callback where Shaun has to leave Ed.
Ed, I'm sorry. What for? Because, I was shouting at you earlier on. It's all right. I'm sorry too. It's okay. No, I'm sorry, Shaun. Oh, God. That's not funny. Stop doing them when you stop laughing. I'm not laughing.
It was just cute because it was like such a deep moment, and they were like pretty much gonna say goodbye for like ever, and then he still pulls it off.
Yeah,
that's why I was chuckling.
Ed had farted again.
Yes.
and then he says, "I'll stop doing it when you stop laughing."
Yep.
And Shaun says, "I'm not laughing," and it's like it's sad that time.
Yeah.
So I'm getting a little goosebumps talking about it. So that's a good scene. I don't know how they turned a fart joke into a touching moment.
Right? I think that's what's so marvelous about it and just amazing.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's such a touching scene and somehow a fart joke makes its way in. But that's the beauty of Ed.
Yeah. but the fart joke is what makes it work.
Yeah.
Anyways, so Shaun and Liz get out on the street, then an army vehicle rolls up and saves them. Yvonne is with them. She had the army stop by to see if there were any survivors there, which to me seems kind of unrealistic that the army would be like, yeah, let's go save possibly 6 people based on this lady's word.
One random lady.
Right. But I do think it is realistic that the army would be called in to kind of solve the problem, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have anything else on that? I was going to go on to like the next day. When
I was sort of expecting one of them to get shot because they just came out of that elevator, and then the lights turned on.
You were expecting
they had blood on them.
The Night of the Living Dead ending.
Yeah, so how did they know that they were like alive? But
yeah, that's a fair point, or at least not bitten.
Yeah, but they were just really well trained soldiers.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe. So then, sometime later, it's not really established how much time later. It seems like life is pretty much back to normal for everyone who lived. Zombies are basically enslaved at this point. They're basically prisoners with jobs. Noel is pushing carts, for example.
Where's that from again?
That's the
that's from
Thor Ragnarok.
Ragnarok,
When the Grandmaster was like, "Ooh, I don't like that word." So, the prisoners with jobs are revolting.
That's awesome.
So Shaun and Liz are back together, and they seem good. He says he's going to pop into the shed for a bit, 2 seconds, and Zombie Ed is there, and they play video games together.
Yes.
Which it's an okay ending. I think if I think about the Ed thing too much, I think it starts to fall apart for me.
About him not being a violent zombie or not trying to eat him and stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. It's okay. It's fine. I don't. The whole movie overall is so great.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna shit on the ending too much here.
Right.
In the cast commentary is where I learned which zombie was Edgar Wright.
Oh.
I don't remember who said it, but anyways, when Shaun and Liz are watching TV, or I don't even know if it's them watching TV, but they're showing TV clips, right?
Yeah.
And one of them is news footage, and there's like, I don't know, 3 or 4 zombies in a field, and one of them gets shot and falls down.
Mm-hmm.
That one is Edgar Wright, the one that gets shot and falls down.
Oh, I'm trying to remember.
They said that it was one of the first makeup tests that they did. It was like test footage that they were doing. They just used it for this thing. So I don't think there's any way you'd be able to tell that it was him. It's because it's on a TV, and it was probably grainy footage to begin with.
Now I want to watch it to find out, to see it.
Yeah. I'm just gonna buy you the Blu-ray, dude. It's like $10. There was apparently almost a sequel called From Dusk Till Shaun that was going to be about vampires.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
That's my original thought too. And then I'm like, I don't know. Like, it's really hard with sequels because now it's, for the studio, it's about money, right? And then you don't have like that hunger to really knock it out of the park with this. Like, I got to make this one work.
It could have turned into like one of those Not Another Teen movies too.
If there was more than one of those.
Yeah, weren't like scary or like scary movie.
Scary movie. Yeah.
1, 2, 3, and however many they made.
Actually, I do like Scary Movie too. That's the one with Chris
Evans.
Chris Elliott, and he's got the tiny hand.
Oh.
Right. That's Scary Movie 2, I think, right?
I don't know. I haven't watched any of them.
No. Anyways, so that's Shaun of the Dead. Did you have any changes that you would propose?
No, I kind of want to watch it again.
Yeah.
Or it's definitely a good, like, if you've watched it a bunch of times, it'd be good to have, like, to just watch it in the background also and just listen to it.
So that's what I did with the commentaries.
Yeah.
Because I was mostly just listening.
Yeah.
At that point. I don't think I would have gotten through 4 commentaries.
Rewatching it.
Otherwise, because I just don't have time to sit down and super focus on it.
Yeah.
That many times. I guess for me, my changes, I would have said having Mary get in, when she gets impaled, have it off to the side a little bit. Like we talked about, so it doesn't sever her spine. Again, very petty of me.
Right.
It doesn't really ruin the movie for me at all because, I mean, zombies are already not real, whatever. And then, I wish that they would have done some of the things at the end differently, where there's so many, we'll call them close calls. Like, the zombies should have been on them. They should have gotten bitten. And I think they could have done it a little bit different. Yeah. And I would have liked to see the pool cue scene go more quickly.
Yeah.
That is the low point for me. Every time I'm like, ugh. And it's actually not even that long, but it feels like it drags for me.
I think it's one of those, like, it started out so strong that it would have, like, just wrapping it up in not a typical zombie fashion would have been so hard.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, because you've already seen how many zombie movies and how all of those kind of ended up. So it's one of those, like, it would have been hard to wrap it up in the same way that the beginning was just crazy strong.
Yeah. So in terms of ratings and recommendation, did you have some favorite scenes you wanted to mention?
Oh man, favorite scenes. The the first one where the first day of everybody being a zombie, as soon as he leaves his door, goes to the shop and comes back. That's like hands down one of my favorite scenes in this movie. What are the other ones? The intro when he and Liz are talking and then they pan to everybody and everybody just happens to be there as they're talking about it. Both of those scenes are like my two favorites. And then the part when you start realizing, oh, everybody is turning into zombies, except nobody else seems to realize it because him and Ed are just walking down the street. That's my third favorite.
Nice.
Those
good
three.
choices. I would add to those. I would add "Get 4 Eyes."
Oh yeah, that's like my favorite quote.
When they leave the bar, singing "White Lines."
Yeah.
When David gets ripped apart, and the "I'm sorry, Shaun" sad fart at the end.
It's a very good buddy movie.
Oh, totally. I mean, it's a romantic comedy, not just between Shaun and Liz.
100%.
One of the things I really appreciate, and this is not a dig at movies that do this kind of thing, but there's very little cutting between storylines here. For the most part, this is Shaun's story and we stick to it almost exclusively. There's just the that part where he goes to draw the zombies away, right?
Then where he disappears.
Yeah. So I thought that was, if nothing else, it made covering this a little easier than it could have been. So, I mean, in terms of final thoughts for me on the movie, it's got great characters. There's no wasted lines here. There's so much packed into each scene. And I feel like this movie, along with the remake of Dawn of the Dead, but I think more so this one, it really reinvigorated the zombie movie genre. So in terms of a rating, I thought about this way too much because it's not perfect. So I can't give it 10 out of 10, but the first hour is perfect. A+ on that. It starts to be, I'll say, unrealistic with the zombies not attacking and stuff around the 103 mark. We'll call that an A-. But the part with John the bartender showing up and getting hit with the pool sticks for far too long, I'm going to give that a C- for a little bit there. And then I would say the rest of the movie averages like a B+. You know, there's some ups, like dealing with Shaun's mom and David getting ripped apart, but then there's some downs with all the, being surrounded by zombies, but nobody's getting bit. So I did a lot of math there, and out of the 94 minutes of movie time, so I'm not including the credits, that gives me a weighted average of 96%. So I award Shaun of the Dead 9.6 oi pricks out of 10. That's my units for this one, oi pricks. It's absolutely one of the best. Highly recommend it, unless you don't like zombie movies or comedies.
I think if you like zombie movies, this is definitely still at the very top, or one of the very top. I don't even know which zombie movies would
be better. I don't know. I mean,
the first season of Walking Dead could come pretty close.
I was gonna say like Train to Busan, but that one's not. It's not funny.
Oh,
so
Train to Busan
is it really,
was really good.
Fair to compare the two? I don't know. But that's a great movie, and I love Day of the Dead, like the original one. It's I don't know. I don't think it's better than this, but it's got a special place in my heart. But what do you have? What do you want to give this for a rating? And would you recommend it? Obviously, you recommend it.
I mean, I'd still give it I'd probably give it a little bit better than you at a 9.7.
Very reasonable.
What was it? What was your thing? What 1.7? Oi pricks. Yeah, 9.7 just because it didn't the pool cue scene didn't bug me as much. It did feel a little bit long, but I wasn't as bothered about it as much as I think you were.
All right, but so I think we both very highly recommend this one.
Yes, yeah. If you need a break from a typical zombie movie, this is a good break.
I have prepared a little zombie quiz for you if you're interested.
Oh.
If you got a few more minutes.
Yeah. Let's try it.
All right. So this is going to be, there's 2 sections. I think there's only 2 sections I put here. Anyways.
Is it in your notes?
So the first one, I didn't put it in the notes. So those would be the answers. I have it in front of me.
Got it.
So, but I guess the first one is I have 3 different questions, I guess, but each one of them is which one is not a zombie movie, and name.
Okay.
So movies, you tell me which one is not the zombie movie. Army of Thieves from 2021, Army of Shadows from 1969, and Army of the Dead from 2021.
Army of Thieves.
You are incorrect.
Well, that was a zombie movie? That's
Army of Thieves.
That's
the
Zack
Army of
Snyder
the
one,
Dead
right?
prequel.
Yeah, but there were zombies in there?
According to Wikipedia.
Oh, I didn't watch
Army
it.
of Thieves, yeah.
Because I didn't watch it because it said no zombies.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, we'll put an asterisk on that one. But it was listed amongst the zombie movies. The correct answer was Army of Shadows. It's a World War II suspense drama.
It's another Zack Snyder movie, man. And he did I watched Army of what was it? Was it Army
of the Dead?
The Dead, just out of curiosity, and regretted it. So I wasn't watching no prequel to it.
I did watch it. It was, it was better than I expected, I guess, but it was still not good. Yeah. But he didn't do the prequel. It was the guy who plays like the weird German or Swiss guy, and the guy who like can open the vault. He's the one who directed Army of Thieves.
I guess that makes sense because he wanted to make himself the star, I guess.
Yeah. So next one, which one is not a zombie movie? Dead Men Walk from 1943. Dead Man Walking from 1995. Dead Men Walking from 2005.
Oh, shit. I don't know. The middle one?
You are correct. Good guess. Dead Man Walking is a crime drama with Susan Sarandon and Sean Penn.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, one of those sounds like an 80s movie.
Yeah.
A title to an 80s movie. Okay.
It was a 90s movie, but yes.
90s, yeah.
Okay, last one of the which one is not a zombie movie? The Child from 1977. The Children from 1980. There's Something Wrong with the Children from 2023. Children of the Living Dead from 2001. Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things from 1972.
Was it The Child?
The first one is The Child.
Yeah.
The second one is The Children.
Yeah. So I'm saying The Child is the one that's not a zombie movie?
You are incorrect.
Oh.
It is There's Something Wrong with the Children from 2023, which is a horror movie about kids who get possessed by this thing in a cave. It was actually pretty good. I saw that one. I forgot what it was called, and then I happened upon it. I was just trying to find something with children or child in the name that didn't have zombies in it.
Are you trying to scare yourself into not having kids?
It's a little too late for that. Okay, so now we're doing which one is the zombie movie? 28 Days from 2000, End of Days from 1999, or The Night Eats the World from 2018.
Which one is the zombie movie?
Yes, only one of those is a zombie movie.
Yeah, 28 Days.
Incorrect.
Oh wait, no, that's 28 Days Later. Damn it.
That's why I put it in there.
Yeah.
The answer is The Night Eats the World. It's an English language French zombie film. End of Days was the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie that's not very good. Which one is the zombie movie? Cemetery Gates from 2006, Cemetery High from 1988, or Cemetery Man from 1994?
Cemetery High?
Incorrect.
Oh, man.
The correct one is Cemetery Man. You never saw that with Rupert Everett? It's like a comedy horror. It's pretty good. It's a little bit artsy fartsy, but good.
Rupert Everett.
Cemetery Gates is a horror movie about a genetically mutated Tasmanian devil. And Cemetery High is a group of high school girls go on a killing spree intent on ridding the world of scummy men.
Oh, man.
Which one is the zombie movie? Spring from 2014, Summer from 2008, or Autumn from 2009?
I want to say Summer.
Incorrect.
What?
Summer is a drama with Robert Carlyle that won a bunch of BAFTA Scotland awards. I don't know.
So which one was the...
Autumn. It's a Canadian post-apocalyptic movie with zombies. And Spring is like a romantic body horror movie written and directed by, this might be of interest to you. That one was written and directed by Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead, who directed a bunch of the Moon Knight episodes.
Oh, interesting.
All right, we got two more.
I'm doing bad on these ones.
It's just for fun. Which one is the zombie movie? Dead Girl, all one word, Deadgirl, no space. Dead Girl from 2008. Dead Girl, two words, from 2006, or The Dead Girl from 1996.
The Dead Girl in 1996.
Incorrect. That is a comedy. That is a murder mystery.
Yeah.
Dead Girl, two words, is a comedy, apparently, about killing a girl and having sex with the corpse. Sounds hilarious.
Good God.
The correct answer was Dead Girl, all one word. It's I've seen that one. It's pretty messed up, but it's like a kind of a patient zero scenario. I like it. It's good. I don't know if it holds up, to be honest, but that is the zombie movie, Dead Girl from 2008.
Cool.
All right, last one. Which one is the zombie movie? Black Sheep from 1920, Black Sheep from 1935, Black Sheep from 1996, or Black Sheep from 2006?
Black Sheep in 2006?
It is. That is correct. Okay. It's a New Zealand horror movie with zombie sheep.
One of those is like, what do you call it? Spade, Stoning Spade movie?
Yeah. David Spade and Chris Farley. That's the 1996 one.
Yeah.
And then the other ones are just like old movies that happen to have Black Sheep as the name.
Damn, I got one right.
I was particularly proud of that one. I'm glad you got it right. I almost did one that was, which one did I make up? And I was going to list a bunch of like blank of the Dead titles. There's a lot. And I was going to make up Toilet of the Dead, but there is a movie called Zombie Ass Toilet of the Dead, which is a Japanese horror comedy.
Zombie Ass.
So I was like, you know what? That's enough questions.
Yeah, on Tubi and some of these other services, if you just type in "dead," a lot of variants of that title
that's
show
a
up.
good idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's it for Shaun of the Dead. Next up for Series 2, I think we should keep it a secret, but maybe drop some hints. Yeah?
Sure.
Okay. So the MCU tie-ins for this one are many. The writer and director has written and directed 3 MCU movies, and several cast members are shared as well, at least 3. It's another spoopy season appropriate movie. It's from 2006, and I think that's all I'm willing to say. But we will try to have it out by the end of the month being October, because this one won't come out till, I think, the 13th, I think I planned it for. That is the plan. If you want to contact us, you can email us at absolutelythebestpodcast@gmail.com. You can join our Discord. There's a link in the show notes. And one of these days, I'm going to remember to say join the Discord at the top of the show, because I don't think anybody listens to this part. Email me if you're listening to this part. We also have links to our socials and a couple ways you can help support the show. You could leave us a review, and please help us spread the word. Tell your friends, tell a failed actress, and tell a twat. Thank you for listening, and get 4 eyes.
Peace.
Absolutely the Best Podcast is a production of Audio Johnny, a subsidy of Corporation Johnny.
Corporation Johnny. If it exists, we own it.